Dear Tom Joyner, on my commute to work, I frequently listen to your morning show. The past few Thursdays, I have gotten the opportunity to hear you announce the Thursday Mom. While the women have been impressive, I think I know one even more so than these. This past Sunday, I was awoken out of my sleep with thoughts of my own mother. My mother is definitely worthy of being a Thursday morning mom, and I pray that this letter does a thorough job articulating that. My mom is the shit. In my early childhood days, my mom was a stay-at-home mother. But unfortunately, due to my father's debilitating drug addiction, her desire to stay at home became outweighed by the need to support her family when my father had given up on life. After 14 years of marriage, my mom divorced my dad. It was painful but necessary, and I am still, to this day, proud of her for sacrificing the love for my dad in exchange for the health of her 3 children. As a single mother with 3 kids, my mom made it work. She went to work with no complaints, and she held it down. There were definitely times that we struggled, but my mom ensured that we always had a roof over our heads, a good education, and a hot homemade Southern meal. Not only was she an excellent mom to her 3 children, but she, coming from a family of educators, is a fantastic teacher, often given some of the most challenging students because of her patience and heart to help. She has provided a great example to all 3 of us. I can recall her having a particularly difficult group of students with behavior problems spanning the spectrum of learning deficiencies. Her role was to get these kids to pass the CRCT, which was the statewide test given to demonstrate proficiency in that grade. My mom had worked hard with her class that she had followed from first into the 2nd grade. She was dedicated to the children's lives, often going out and buying them supplies that were inclusive of uniforms and book bags. When she knew a child's own parents couldn't or wouldn't do it, she developed relationships with some of the most honorary of parents, stressing to them the need for them to be attentive and encourage their child at home. By the end of the year, the group of impossible students did overwhelmingly pass. And in response to their passing, my mother threw a party at our house in our backyard. The kids were buck wild, Mr. Joyner, and I can remember being slightly annoyed with all these kids running around our home, as I tried to hide out in my room and ignored the excited squeals of young kids outside my bedroom window. I heard one child say, "Miss Henderson got everything we need." At that moment, my heart swelled with pride. And even in this letter, I am in tears because the innocent, heartfelt statement that I believe was in response to the water toys my mom had purchased for the kids for their fun day in our backyard was not only true for these children, but true for her own children. That was several years ago. I am now 25, a graduate of law school, and working as a public defender in Miami. I am daily reminded that my mother has provided everything that we need to lead successful lives. Our lives have not been perfect, but we have never done without. She has led our family by example, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to lay prostrate and pray favor into our lives, and tiptoeing into our rooms to anoint each of our heads with oil. By foregoing paying our own light bill so she could give money to so-and-so who could not afford groceries for that month, while explaining to us that we would have to heat water on the stove because she gave her last money to insert the number of people for which this happened. Stressing the importance of education by going back to school herself, My mother is currently working on her PhD so she can counsel children with behavior and mental issues, despite all of her children being just about grown and it being time close to the time of her retirement age. Fostering a child when a mentally ill mother diagnosed with schizophrenia and a drug addiction could not, and then giving that child away to a family and blessing that family with a child because they could not have children of their own, despite our grown attachment to that child. My mother has worked 3 jobs so that we can stay in the privileged neighborhood that we as children had grown accustomed to. My mother has led by example by always giving, always being the sacrificial lamb, and always being selfless. My mom is not only worthy of being the Thursday mom, she is worthy of being the best mom. And yet, Tom, I think myself, my brother, and my sister take her for granted. Her 50th birthday passed this year, and it came and went like any other day. This has bothered me for several months, because as long as I could remember, my mother always talked about how she wanted to have a big celebration for her 50th. However, she nor anyone in her life was in a financial place to give her the one thing that she had always desired. And Tom, she did not complain or murmur. Tom, my mom is deserving of a big 50th celebration with friends in tow. I listen enough to the grown folks radio and have listened for years, thanks to my own mother. I know that every year you do a big cruise. My mom and her friends, because of course she wouldn't be able to enjoy it if she had to go alone, which is inclusive of her 2 sisters who also are teachers and hard-working parents, deserve this trip. I have tried to get a second job so that I could surprise her with cruise tickets, but it just has not panned out like I have wanted it to. This Sunday morning, I thought what a Christmas miracle it would be if I asked you, Mr. Joyner, to help my mom's desire come true. Please select my mother as the Thursday mom and bless her and a few of her friends with 2013 VIP Fantastic Voyage Cruise tickets. She is long overdue for a good surprise, and words nor this video can express how deserving she is. Thank you, Mr. Joyner. I hope that this message reaches you well, and I hope that this miracle, Christmas miracle, can be delivered.